My guest today is a founder who turned personal overwhelm into a scalable operating system. I love that. And she built a home organization company from crisis into what is now a multi-million dollar ecosystem of products, of courses, of media. She is the best-selling author of Escaping Quicksand, which is your 10 steps to overcoming the overwhelm of modern home life. And don't we all need at least 10 of those steps? With at least 23 million podcast downloads, but who's counting, and a fiercely loyal audience, she now helps people who make invisible work visible, and in the process, turning complexity into capacity. Welcome to Leadership That Sells. This is a podcast about the real conditions that where leadership and sales actually work and where they quietly and sometimes not so quietly break down. I talk to founders, authors, CEOs, sales leaders, and operators who have had to make decisions when the effort was high, when the pressure was real, but your usual playbooks and ways of working just didn't fit anymore. Now, we're not here to trade slogans. We're not here to share about mad frameworks. We're here to surface patterns and look at what consistently creates momentum, what gets in the way, and what experienced people eventually learn to stop doing. So if you're responsible for results, not just ideas, you're absolutely in the right place. So then, Lisa Woodruff, thank you very much indeed for joining me today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
I'm really looking forward to this. So 365 Organize, built from Escaping Quicksand, or was the other way around? One came from t'other?
Yes, I definitely was at the bottom of the pit of despair when
Uh-huh.
I thought I would hit rock bottom and actually found myself sinking into quicksand at the age of 39. And
Right.
that's when I was like, you know what? If I'm going to live to be 100, I can't live 60 more years this way. Something's got to change. So, quit my job, came home, started Organized 365, had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that if it was going to be, it was up to me. So, I was going to start a company.
Well, that's it. There ain't no one else coming to save you. You know, it's you.
Exactly.
What was it then that journey? What insights did it give you into leading yourself, leading people around you, leading
Mhm.
your family? Because we all, I mean, you look at like leadership and you think, oh, you've got to be some charismatic, super, whatever it is, and it's no, 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 no. Leadership is a function, it's a performance, it's a thing that you can do and learn how to do. When you've got no spare capacity, what
Mhm.
was it that doing it for yourself taught you?
Yeah, I love the way that you frame this question because I have always been one of those leadership types. Like, just work harder, work longer, make the to-do list longer, delegate, manage, all those things. And at 39, going on 40, I was very productive. I was doing a lot of things. I was doing nothing well. I was not um, supporting my own self-care needs. I was depressed, overweight, overwhelmed. The whole house was full of anxiety, cluttered. I wasn't being a good wife, a good mother. I thought I was being a good teacher. And my administrator told me I wasn't a very good teacher. I was like, well, this is the only thing I'm actually doing well. So if you don't think I'm a good teacher, why am I still working here? Because we're working, my husband and I were working without pay because we had to take so many days off in order to meet our kids' needs. So what does it look like to lead when you have no spare capacity? I basically just shut it all down. Like I quit my teaching job with no idea how I was going to make money, came home and was like, okay, well, how do I rebuild from here a life that I would be happy living for the next 60 years because I'm not happy with how I'm showing up in this life. So I
Mm,
think it is really prioritizing what is the goal. So for me, the goal was I want to enjoy my household again. I want to, yes, contribute financially to our household because we needed me to, but also I had lost myself and my parenting and my house in the process of trying to make money any way I could. So money was going to have to be a byproduct. I told my husband, I said, don't worry, I'll start making money eventually. But first, I have to take back this house. I have to get this house organized again so I can even think. And I think it was a time of prioritization. I had tried to do every single thing I felt everyone was requesting of me at the same time, and I literally burned out. And so what I realized was, okay, I can't do everything at the same time. So right now, I'm going to reestablish order in this house and I'm going to go back to being the wife and mother that I was when I was a stay-at-home mom, that priority, and then I will fit in all of the other things after.
I'm thinking a lot because a lot of the conversations I have here are commercial strategy, whatever it is. However, whenever I talk to somebody, and I coach maybe two or three people a year, and one of the first things I end up talking about is, and I think it may be surprising for them, but it's kind of logical for me, is, what's your desk look like?
Hmm.
It's the chaos. How much exercise are you getting? What? Yeah. Mm. Do you have a connection? Do you have a faith group? Do you have people around you?
Right.
No. So you're alone. You're living in a shithole. Excuse me. And you've got nobody you can
Yeah.
lean on and say, help.
Right.
Can we start there? Oh, but I thought we were going to talk about, we are. This is it.
Yeah.
And there's a big part, I mean, when you step back from being a teacher, you were a teacher,
Hmm.
and then you were an unemployed teacher, right? I
Hmm.
know you get what I'm talking about. Before you stopped being an unemployed teacher, and then you started being someone else. And it's this reprioritization, I think, is really important.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
was made redundant in the middle of COVID, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. You don't know it at the time, but it's the best thing that ever happened. And but thankfully, I had gone through the process about a year earlier of this reframing and extracting my identity from my work. Because for a very long time, I was Paul Morton, senior vice exportant person of big company with, stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you realize, actually, no, because that's how you introduce yourself. You say, oh, hello, I'm Paul, I'm this.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Oh, what will it look like on LinkedIn? What? Really? And then you realize and you reposition it and it says, hello, I'm Paul, I'm Andrea's son. I am the husband of a fabulous wife, the father of two magnificent children. I like daft cars and I like walking in the rain. Oh, and I also do some business stuff on the side, which is quite cool. But you reposition it
Yeah.
and you stopped
Yeah.
being. So when you stopped being an unemployed teacher and started
Hmm.
being a full-time human,
Yeah.
talk about
Well, I think that, I loved being a stay-at-home mom for a decade. It's all I ever wanted to be my entire life was a stay-at-home mom. I was so blessed and loved every minute of it. And then I did re-enter the workforce. And I think what we tend to miss is that there is significant work to running a household and someone must do it.
that.
And we think that it takes a couple hours a week. It takes an average of 28 hours a week, not including children. And in the United States, we're responsible for 68% of GDP. So the spending of the household is significant, the work of the household is significant. And when you think that it's not going to take very much time and you have all this time to parent and to work out, and then you get to the end of the day and you're like, why didn't this work? It's because you're not recognizing the work that you're doing to run the household that is essential. The getting the groceries, the bringing them home, the putting them in the refrigerator, the planning them, the cooking them, the cleaning up from them, the doing all the loads of laundry, the doing all the cleaning. And that's just the visible work. Then
Uh,
there's the invisible work. So, I mean, just the visible work is going to hit about 20 hours a week. And so there's a lot of work of living an adult life. And yeah, I think that's where we usually end up. We're not doing the correct math problem.
uh, and we are, I think, again, just from experience, wasting so much time on
Hmm.
nonsense. We waste our time on these mad phone things. We waste our time watching TV. I mean, I'm very grateful and blessed that I don't think we've watched TV in 15 years. Don't think I missed anything. The world's still there. Doesn't matter whether I'm watching it or not. It's like it's not the Heisenberg principle. What is it? It's the cat, Schrodinger's cat. It's dead. It's been in that box for a long time. The damn cat's dead. Okay, just get over it. So it doesn't matter whether I'm paying attention to it or not. But you've got that time where you can then live. Okay, and people
Hmm.
saying, "Well, I like to cook." You say, "How can you cook everything from scratch? You don't have any time." No, mate. This is living. This is
Yeah.
actually life. You're missing it. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I've got time for kids. That is your life. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Just it's that reprioritization. Talk to me, please, because it seems that you have some systems
Hmm.
that have not only made that invisible household work visible, but is something that we could actually then replicate elsewhere. I think I don't really want to jump in and say, how do we take what you've done and put it into the
Right.
world of work? Because unless we
Right.
get this right, any house you're building is built on sand.
Hmm. Yeah, so especially talking to leaders who manage people in big companies. Like
Hmm.
let's frame it from that perspective. What I realized as I was growing Organized 365 and the company was growing and I started having a warehouse and employees and revenue and things like that, I learned the business principles. I didn't know them. I was a school teacher, former stay-at-home mom. I didn't understand, operating systems, supply chain, having different departments of the company. I was like, oh my gosh, you can apply this to business. You can apply this to households. Like getting organized is like one department. Information management is a whole nother department. Scheduling and ensuring and making sure that we have everybody where they need to be for the holidays and all that. That's like operations of a household. Like we have all these departments inside of a household, like we have in business. So in households, the work is invisible because it's a lot of mental load. It's usually done by the female head of household, and she just kind of does it intuitively. And the workload grows as she grows. So she usually hits her tipping point in the 40s because she's been doing this for decades, and she finally gets to the point where she can't hold it in her head anymore. But now she doesn't even know why she does what she does or how she started doing it. So she can't offload it to anybody else in the household because she doesn't even realize how much she's doing because it's invisible. In companies, what I see this look like is as a CEO, I will often say, I want to do this project and I think it should be able to be done in 2 days. I don't understand why it's going to take 2 months or two cycles or whatever the team says it's going to take. Like, how can it possibly be that hard? Like, I had the idea. Why isn't it already done? And I really started to have to look at how do my employees spend their time? They spend so much time in meetings and doing administrative tasks like email, customer service, delivery, fulfillment, like reordering the boxes, making sure we have copy paper, making sure the water filter is changed, like all these things that I don't really think about because I am the visionary and the spokesperson of the brand. So I'm not doing those operational things. And I forget that they have to be done over and over and over again. And they take so much time. And I did have a sister company to this one where I taught people how to get organized in businesses. And I realized that it was kind of depressing because about 80% of your employees' time is on this invisible, repetitive, administrative, operational work that makes the company run. And they really only have about 1 day per week or 8 hours per week, if they're lucky, to put towards a new project initiative that will grow the company, which is why you need only 1 to 3 per quarter, and you could barely get those done. Same to my problem when I turned 40 and started Organized 365. I had to start prioritizing. Organize the house was first, finish that. Okay, that's done. That increases capacity for the next project, the next project, the next project. So at home and in business, we want to be well rounded. We want to do all of the things. You can't possibly. You can maintain things that have already been done, but you can't start multiple projects and finish them in work or at home without just burning yourself out and not actually accomplishing anything.
You end up with organizations that have 27 strategic priorities.
Yes, isn't that fun?
No, no, it's not. You're wrong.
Exactly, right.
Oh. Wait, so
And a
what?
frustrated CEO who's like, why didn't you guys finish this already? And they're like, come on.
It's Tuesday. You mentioned it at lunch.
Right.
So you've got, so this is then our bridge, I think. You're looking at an organization that is operationally chaotic.
Hmm.
How, at what point does that become an actual problem that demands, because you don't change anything until things are too painful, right?
Hmm.
You don't go to the dentist until your teeth hurt, at least if you're a bloke. Okay?
Right.
So your teeth start hurting, your organization starts being painful. At what point does that pain manifest itself and how?
Yeah, I think it is fun to talk about new projects and new ideas. It
Mm.
is fun to research things that you want to do in the future. And we try to say that the administration and the operational running of a business or a household can be done just, in 30 minutes in the morning or at the end of the day. And the truth of the matter is, to run an organization, a household or a business, takes significant operational organization and administration strength. Probably 50% of your hours are going to be in that. If you're lucky, you'll get down to 50% of your hours. If you can hire people, like at home, I hire somebody to clean my house, that gives me many hours back to do other things. In work, I have an executive assistant who is amazing. That gives me many, many, many hours back where I don't have to do the administration, but she has to do all administration. The administration has to get done one way or the other. So you need to, if you're going to grow something, you must account for all of the boilerplate work that must get done for the system to function effectively. And if you have been green lighting 5 projects per week, then you as the CEO or the main leader of that department have to say, that's great. I have all these great ideas. That's great that the team is even bought in and working on those ideas. We cannot bring to fruition those ideas for 20 years, like even if we greenlighted all of them. So I must become disciplined as the CEO and say, what is the one thing that I could have my team work on that once that project is finished will bring in additional capacity or revenue for us to move forward on the next idea and the next idea and the next idea. Same at home. That's wonderful that we want to do all these projects at home. And we are more limited at home with our projects because we run out of money. We don't have other people's money or venture-backed money or any of that. But we will start all of these DIY projects because it doesn't cost any money. So I can start it. But what you're doing is you're diluting your focus. And if you can, and it's rough to make this change, but if you can say, okay, I've been spinning my wheels. I've been running like a hamster in a wheel. I want to run on real road. In order to do that, I need to say, of these 18 projects that we're doing at work or home, 12 of them we're going to stop entirely. We're just going to put them in the bin. And we're not going to do them, even though we have sunk cost fallacy, even though we've invested time and money in them. Maybe they'll come out later, but for right now, we're not even going to think of them. Of these 6 that are left, we're going to give ourselves from now until the end of the year, and it is going to be brutal, and we're going to have to work extra hours, and we're actually going to finish them because we aren't taking any of this into 2027. And in 2027, we are going to have one goal, and when that is done, then you can start researching the second one, and that is it. You can have one in research and one in production, and that's it. And let me just tell you, it is brutal to do that. But once you do it, you will never go back, because what happens is these projects, when you have them, literally do get done in 2 to 3 weeks, because that's all you and the company are focusing on. And then the information from that product or that process that you're improving at home will inform and make easier anything else that comes next. And so you're not just greenlighting 5 programs at one stage of business. That one idea may put you in a different stage of business, which would change how you would do those other 4 projects anyway, or if you would even do them. It's discipline.
Does that boil down to basically saying, do one thing at a time?
Yes and no, because you can't just be like, do one thing. You need to have the strategy, the purpose, the energy, and the growth behind it. It's not just do one thing at a time and then the next thing, like do the next right thing and take that information to move that into the next thing from a growth momentum mindset at home and at work. And that's empowering and that's fun. And, if you're working on one thing and you get the flu, then you just move the timetable back 1 week. If you're working on 14 things and you get the flu, then you're trying to work while you have the flu.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like there's no margin.
Yeah. You're at your capacity. You're at your peak capacity all the time. And that's not, I think, I find out, I don't know about you, but I find that if I am stressed, I can't be creative.
Right.
I can't find my way out of the stress. I can't reason. I can't logic. I can't art my way out of it because my head's shut. So you've got to get rid of that before you can solve the problem. But the bugger is the problem requires you to get rid of that. And if you've got that, how do you get rid of that? Which one goes first? So you've got some interesting solutions.
Yeah. The other thing with that is if you're running 4 projects as a leader, as a CEO, you're managing 4 teams through projects and you're stuck in the management role.
Yeah.
If you are a CEO visionary at home or at work, and you're working on one project and you continue to give that vision to the team until they have so much buy-in that they understand this project and they are running with this project. While they're running with that project and you're managing it to completion, you as a CEO visionary are thinking about like, okay, this is done in my mind already. We're on to the next thing. What is the next thing? You're starting to play around in your head with like,
Wow.
ooh, what does this make possible? What does that make possible? You're doing the research. So as they're starting to get 80% done, you're starting to feed in this next idea that they're also getting excited about, which makes them actually finish this one so that you will give them the second one. And you stay in that visionary and that conductor mindset and not the management and task orienting. It's so much more empowering and fun and
Liberating.
energetic.
Yeah, liberating. So
It's
I mean, you've
great.
got
It's
then
great.
because this is like systems and capacity rather than productivity. You're not talking about this. It's not a
Right.
productivity hack, right?
Right. Yes.
Systems and capacity. So you're
Hmm.
talking here about the operational load that is just silently consuming the quality of your decision making, the
Hmm.
quality of your responsiveness, and the speed of your execution.
Hmm.
What then, as
Yes.
a CEO, as a visionary CEO, what
Hmm.
invisible work is sitting on you or with another CEO that should then already be productized into process?
So I had a different answer until you said should be productized. I don't think anything the CEO does should be productized. If it's productized, it should be an employee or in an employee role.
What was
So
your
when
answer going to
you,
be? Sorry,
so my answer was going to be when you said what should the work of the CEO be? So I have
yeah,
a very small company in Cincinnati, Ohio with 6 employees,
yeah.
an online company. And what I spend the majority of my time invisibly doing is monitoring the world economy, understanding how war in Iran is going to impact a company in Cincinnati or household managers in Ohio,
Mhm.
um, thinking about how AI is going to disrupt industries. I don't think it's going to disrupt mine soon because nobody cares about the household, which is good and bad. But it is going to disrupt the work of the people who provide income inside of households. And people are going to adopt AI at different time frames. And because I work inside of households, you live in a household your entire life. So I think about how different generations are doing work, how different
Uh,
generations are experiencing the technological revolution, how, as Gen X is the one that's doing estates now when people pass away. But how will millennials handle it when their parents become sick and need care and then pass away? And millennials are very much more digital than Gen X. And Gen X is used to understanding paper organization and digital organization. Millennials are much stronger with digital organization, and baby boomers and above are all paper based. So there's going to be a translative effect of how do you manage a household and settle an estate of a parent or grandparent whose information management is housed differently than how you're used. This is what I think about. I'll have to stop because I'll just go on for hours
I
about
love
these
this.
are the things I think about.
Uh-huh. I love this. I love this.
Hmm.
You have the Sunday basket,
Hmm.
right? I love this idea. Tell me about the Sunday basket. But where did it come from for a start? How did you start with it, and what
Desperation.
is it now?
Desperation and crying. So
Okay,
the
this is
Sunday
a
basket,
good place to start.
yeah, that's where all good ideas come from. It's probably 24 years ago. I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, and I it was all paper based because we all were. It was 2002. And I could not get my to-do list done. I didn't even know what was on my to-do list because my 2-year-old was extremely hyper and wouldn't take any naps. And so I was paying bills late just because I didn't even know what bills were due. And I was in my early 30s. So every single person in every single household has had this experience at some time in their life. And so you create some kind of a do it yourself DIY solution for how am I going to manage my responsibilities of paying bills and calendaring and all that. So I created the Sunday basket then. I created Organized 365 10 years later. And it was 6 years after that I realized, oh, the Sunday basket is why I was able to create Organized 365 and where I get my capacity from. So I then trademarked, patented, and manufactured a traditional box to be done on Sunday because I did mine on Sunday the first time. You don't have to do it on Sunday. You just have to do it once a week. And now it's an operational system with a course and an ongoing community and co-working where you can come and learn what is the invisible work of running a household and how do you do it and just set up that cadence. You'll modify it to your specifications, but there are a lot of things that we all have to do. We all have to clean, we all have to go grocery shopping, we all have to pay bills, we all have to collect the mail, even if there's not much in it, and process it every week. And it's a system that teaches you how to do that.
Marvelous. So if we need you and what you've got, where do we come to find you?
So everything is at organize365.com, and the podcast is also called Organize 365.
Well, the links to that will be in the description of this outstanding episode. I have one thing to ask you before you go. If I were to give you the world's largest Sharpie and
Ah!
10,000 billboards scattered around the planet, what is the one message that Lisa Woodruff would leave with everyone?
Yeah. Live a life of excellence and give everyone around you and yourself grace.
Here we go. And on grace, we shall leave it. Lisa Woodruff, thank you so very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you.